Hello and welcome to Euphoria. In this series of videos we're modifying the Sanctum Sanctorum building from the LEGO set from 2022 to improve its suitability for my LEGO city. We're going to carry straight on from the previous episodes in which we changed the ground floor, modified the first floor and created a brand new second floor for the building. In this episode, we'll be changing the top floor, which makes up the mansard roof, and change the roof itself to fit the rest of the building. This may be the most significant change to the appearance of the building so far, and hopefully it will complete its conversion from the Sanctum Sanctorum into a more normal city mansion house. I really like this building, and as a traditional style city mansion, I think it easily deserves a place in my LEGO city. But I'm changing it so that it isn't specifically the Sanctum Sanctorum building that you find in the Marvel universe, and it will become an ordinary city building in the style of a classical mansion house. We've discussed how to make these changes in previous videos, and we already made some significant changes and improvements to the original model in the LEGO set. We made some changes to the layout of the ground floor and made some improvements to the windows. We split the upper floor into two, creating separate first and second floors with internal staircases to provide access, and changed the windows and quite a lot of the internal details, including a detailed interior for the new second floor. You can follow the details of all those changes in the previous episodes in this series. Now we're going to change the roof to fit the rest of the building and make a significant change to its appearance. Let's just think about what needs to change in the top floor. This floor fits inside the mansard roof and has the dormer windows at the front and side. At the front, of course, it has the large and distinctive feature window, which makes this building so clearly the Sanctum building from the Marvel universe. At the back and the other side, there's just a plain wall, although the LEGO set does have this clever feature of the changeable panels, which means that you can reconfigure the look of the building in several different ways. Now, although I do like the style of this roof, and I'll be keeping the basic structure and dormer windows, those features that are specific to the Marvel universe are going to have to go. That means removing the large round window and replacing the changeable panel in the back with a normal brick wall like I did for the floors below. In the previous episode, we created a new second floor for the building, and that provided a staircase up to this top floor, which is great. So minifigs don't have to magically fly up to the top floor. But it does mean we need an access point in the top floor for that staircase to come up into. There might be enough space on this floor to somehow create two rooms, which would address an issue I have with the original set, which is there's only one room per floor of the building. I haven't quite worked out how this floor is going to work yet, so I'll be developing these changes as we go along. So let's make a start with making these changes to the roof section of the building. We're going to start by looking at what we need to do with the floor plate. That's the set of plates that make up the floor of this level of the building. We're not changing the basic size and shape, but we do need to make some changes. The staircase from the floor below needs to emerge on this floor, so we need a hole in the floor plate in the right place. And for some reason there's currently a hole here that we don't really need. So I'm going to detach the floor plate and change the combination of large plates for the floor and smaller plates underneath, which make up the floor plate. That proves to be quite tricky, and I end up pulling sections of the wall off the floor plate, but it is possible to keep them more or less together, so I'm hoping I can use them later without completely rebuilding everything from scratch. I'm removing the internal details and saving those for use later, which leaves me the floor plate itself. The floor plate at the moment uses two large 8x16 plates in dark tan, plus some other plates, with the front and side edges in light bluish grey to match the floors lower down. Comparing this floor plate with the one I made for the new second floor, I can see how I want to move things around to make the hole on the left-hand side for the staircase. So this is the new floor plate. It's the same size and shape as the original and reuses many of the plates, including the two large 8x16 plates. And of course the all-important hole is now over here on the left-hand side. But I have changed the construction so that the front edge is a continuous run of tiles in light bluish grey, and the same at the side. That means that the roof and dormer windows should fit back on in the same way. And I'm hoping that the angled corner of the roof will fit back on here, although I would like to improve this area slightly. Now we can check that it fits onto the new second floor, which it does, and that the stairs come up with the last step coming up onto this new floor plate. There's no longer an inset in the centre of this plate for that strange inverted arch that was part of the original set, and we just have a nice plain string course on which the roof can be built. Before we get to the main window, we're just going to look again at the dormer windows in the roof. At the moment they're quite small because they're made using those 1x2x2 window frames. That's very small for a minifig scale window. They have the same railings as the floors below, but again they're only attached by one stud, which means they can wobble about a bit. So I'd like to change that so that the railings are held by brackets, the same as those we used on the floors below. It would also be good to make these windows a bit taller by changing the frames for 1x2x3 window frames. The larger windows should let a bit more light in and be slightly more appropriate for minifig scale dormer windows. That will add a bit of height to the roof and means that the structure of the slopes and the supporting bricks will change slightly. I'll have to play around with these parts to see how we can make that work. In effect, by using the taller windows, we'll be making the roof one brick higher. So I've rearranged things, and although I haven't got all the right pieces to complete this fully, I think it's looking good enough to progress with. I still have to work out how this angled corner of the roof is going to work, hopefully using the same technique that was used in the set. And we now have a hole in the centre of the roof where the large round window used to be. As I said, we're not going to keep this, so we need to work out a different solution. Let's look at how to fix the corner. The original corner is built using sloped bricks attached sideways to part of the structure supporting the roof. We're going to use the same technique here, but I've noticed something inconsistent on the original build, which I'd also like to fix here. The columns at the ends of the facade and at the ends of the side wall continue upwards into the sloping parts of the side wall that provide the edge to the green part of the roof, except for here, where the column mysteriously stops and you just get that corner bit of the roof. So I would like to reinstate a grey edge to the roof where I think it should be and move the corner part of the roof over a bit. The new grey sloped edge is going to go on here, and the angled corner roof is going to go back on here somehow. I may want to raise it up a bit as the roof is now a bit higher. It turns out to be a bit tricky, but not impossible, to get the studs in the right place to attach the roof, which I've extended by one stud so that it again matches the height of the roof. I'll just check that the top part of the roof still fits correctly on the top. Which it does. And now we can put this roof section onto the floor below to see how the columns on the floor below now match up with the grey sloping edge to the roof, not only on the right hand side, but now also on the left hand side of this section of the roof. Now I know that this change is going to work. I can sort out the windows, find the correct parts and colours, and fix the structure of the roof on this side. This is what the side part of the roof and the revised corner look like when they're finished. Next, we're going to work out what to do with this big hole in the front. We're not looking for a big feature window. In fact, we're taking one out, so it would be good to continue the pattern of dormer windows that are in the rest of the roof. We can try to replicate the same build of dormer window using the same type of parts as the others. We can't quite continue the pattern of windows exactly due to the spacing, but we could place a window centrally to keep the roof symmetrical. To do that, we put a window in the centre here and build out the roof using those same green slopes on either side. That window does look the same as all the other windows in the roof, and it lines up nice and centrally. I actually don't think that looks too bad, but the window looks narrow compared with the wider windows below, and the spacing between windows is different. Looking at these real buildings that I found pictures of, I can see that the window in the roof lines up with those below it, and there's a kind of extension upwards of the wall below. So let's see if we can introduce something like that into this design. So here we can use a larger window that's 4 studs wide, the same as the windows in the floor below. Now we can't use the same mudguard pieces over the window to provide the arch, so I've got one of these wider mudguard pieces that should make an arch over the wider window, and as it's the same piece as the arches used in the floors below, it should keep the style consistent. To provide support for that arch, we can build up bits of the wall on each side of the window. Then add the arch and complete the roof with the rest of the slope bricks. To finish these off, I added these finials in warm gold, but I'm not sure about the design or colour of this feature. Perhaps they look better in dark grey and metallic silver, or maybe not. Perhaps I need a different way of finishing this arch. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So the new central dormer window lines up really nicely with the others on either side, and the arch over the window also lines up pretty well with the other windows. Now we can finish off the walls. The side wall here has to be raised by 1 brick, as we added one brick to the height of the roof at the front. Round the back, obviously we need to fill in the hole where the removable panel used to be, and I don't think we need this large chimney breast sticking out of the back. Although the back of this building doesn't reach the edge of the base plate, I'm hoping to keep the back flat so that I can put another building up against it later if I want to. We'll rebuild this wall in the same combination of light bluish grey and medium nougat bricks as we used on the lower levels of the building. Fortunately, I have quite a few light bluish grey masonry profile bricks obtained from the pab wall to allow me to build the rest of the back and side walls. At the top of the walls is a tiling separation layer, which is mostly tiles with just a few studs to locate the roof, but allow the roof itself to be easily added and removed. Now we can look at the layout of the interior. I think there's room on this floor of the building to make more than one room. On the floor below, we managed to fit in a living room and a kitchen. On this floor, I think it would be appropriate to add a couple of bedrooms, or a large master bedroom and a nice large bathroom. That probably means dividing the space into two, again somewhere down the middle here. We don't need to include another staircase on this level, but of course the landing for the staircase that comes up from the floor below is at the front corner here. With the staircase being on the left, it would be a bit awkward having two bedrooms because the staircase would be in one of them, or one of the bedrooms would have to be separated off at the back where there aren't any windows. So I'm going to try separating this out with an internal wall to form a bathroom on the left hand side with access from the corridor at the front, and then a separate door into a space on the right hand side which can be the bedroom. Now we can finish off this level by detailing the interior with fittings and furniture. There's space in the corner for a shower cubicle, complete with a shower door into the bathroom itself. There's plenty of space in the rest of the room where we could fit a really nice bathroom suite, but for now we're going to manage with a toilet and a wash basin. Now we can look at some furniture for the bedroom. Here there's room for a small fireplace to keep the room warm, and the chimney can go up the outside wall and appear in a chimney pot on the roof. I've managed to fit some furniture into the slope of the roof, and I've reused some of the parts from the set to make some storage drawers. And over here we can reuse the trunk or chest which was in the top floor of the original set. I've made a fairly simple bed with a colourful cover using some random tiles that I got from a recent pick-a-brick haul. We can reuse the coolie hat, again from the top floor of the original set, as a nice decorative feature to go on the wall above the bed. And I've made a little nightstand with a lamp that can go in the corner next to the bed. So that's probably enough furniture for the bedroom. So now we can replace the side part of the roof. That completes the fixtures, fittings and furniture for this level of the building. You can come up the staircase onto the landing, giving access to the bathroom with the shower room in the corner, and on this side you've got the bedroom with its bed, fireplace and other furniture. Now let's have a look at the roof itself. There are no wholesale changes here, just one or two tweaks and a couple of decisions. At the back we're going to remove the overhang for the large chimney breast, which used to stick out but which we've now removed. We're going to move the large chimney breast from this side over to the other side because that's where the fireplaces are in the rooms below. And we'll move the vents on the roof nearer to the back so they can extract from the kitchen and bathroom, which are on that side. We'll keep the small air conditioning units and other equipment and just move them out of the way of the chimney. Now, I'm not sure what to do with the two chimneys on the front of the building. It bothers me slightly that they're placed here when there's no fireplace below them. We could just remove them and replace the bit of grey below them, representing the chimney, with green to match the rest of the roof. But then there's a gap at the edge which needs closing up somehow. I think this stretch of black gear track is meant to represent a railing round the roof on the original building. It's not really doing that job at minifig scale, so I could replace it with a minifig scale railing. Actually, I think that looks quite good and adds an additional bit of detail to the building. But there are alternatives, for example using a fancy bit of scroll work, or even just using a smaller scale lattice type railing. I've not quite settled on what to do here. Perhaps you could help me decide. So let me know what you think in the comments. For now, I'll put the chimneys back in place and leave the smaller railing between them on the front of the building. So I think we're just about done with making modifications to the top floor and roof of this building. We didn't really change anything fundamental about the structure of this part, but I think it will have one of the largest impacts on the look of the building. Of course, the major change apparent from the outside is the removal of the signature round window and its replacement with a relatively boring dormer window that's in keeping with the other windows in the roof. You might argue that it's sacrilege to remove that window, but I didn't want a building that's so clearly tied to the Marvel Universe and that looks like everyone else's. So in this episode we also changed the floor plate to allow access to this floor via the staircase from below. We increased the size of the windows, added a brick to the height of the roof section, laid out an interior and added the details and changed up the roof itself. Thanks for spending your time with me on this episode of the series. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and if so, please hit the like button to help support the channel. Next time, we'll finally be putting the whole building back together, and we'll be able to see what the whole thing looks like. I'm also hoping to do a quick before and after comparison so we can see the effect of these changes. So look out for that video coming up, and I hope you'll be able to join me then. Don't forget to hit the bell button to be notified of new videos, and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more videos on my mocks, builds, other LEGO stuff, and updates on my LEGO City.